Hey witches, it is rapidly approaching Halloween. We are in mid-September right now, and I have decided that for the next few weeks I am going to be focusing my videos on mythical creatures. Now, some of them are not so mythical, and today we're going to focus on vampires because vampires are actually real. There are two types of vampires. There are sanguine vampires, which are the bloodsuckers. Interview with the Vampire, Bela Lugosi and Dracula, and Nosferatu. Those are sanguine. The second one we're going to talk about are psychic vampires. They're a little less known, but they are actually more dangerous than a sanguine vampire. So, to properly explain exactly what a sanguine vampire actually is, we're going to have a history lesson. And I know what you're saying. Oh, here we go, history. But it's actually a little bit fascinating. I have spirits here that are known as sanguine vampires. The thing is, none of them are younger than a couple of 100 years old. And there's a very good reason for that. So, to properly explain what a sanguine vampire is, why they still exist in the world, but why you don't hear about them, we're going to have to hop in the TARDIS. We're going to have to go way back, and we're going to talk about, let's say, 1,000 years ago. Now, let's think about medicine as it is in the modern day. Yes, we have a lot of advances. Yes, we have a lot of treatments. We have antibiotics. We have vaccines. We know about all kinds of diseases, and we know what makes the body work. We know that there's a circulatory system. We know that there are conditions in the blood that actually can make us worse. But 1,000 years ago, they didn't know this. They thought the body was balanced by humors. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. But they believe that there are good humors and bad humors. And the bad humors make you sick. So to balance them out, they would bleed you. Now, if you're a sanguine vampire, this is the worst thing that they could possibly do to you. But they didn't know about medicine. They didn't even know that there was a circulatory system in the body until the English Civil Wars in the 1600s. They didn't know that blood traveled around your body. They thought that there were different things like pus. And yeah, they knew about blood. They thought that blood and pus and bile and all this other stuff were part of the humors, and they all traveled around your body. So they didn't understand that what a sanguine vampire actually was is anemic. Now, of course, if they didn't know what was going on with the body, they certainly didn't have any type of... Well, they made pills out of, like, friggin' donkey dung and shit. I'm not kidding. I seriously looked this up. Like, ancient Egyptians made pills out of alligator dung, donkey dung, dog... like, every type of animal shit you can imagine, they made pills out of. I'm not joking. Look it up. So they didn't know about vitamins. They didn't know that the body needs certain vitamins and nutrients to balance it out. They thought, okay, we'll just bleed you, and we'll just keep bleeding to you until you're dead. Okay, well then, problem solved. We don't have to worry about it anymore because you're dead. But they didn't understand that an anemic person needs this because they have low iron in their blood. It would make them feel tired. It would make them feel weak. They might pass out. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't want to say exactly like the symptoms of a diabetic, but if you don't have enough iron in your blood, you're gonna suffer, and it's gonna cause like all kinds of problems in your body. So they didn't have iron in their body. But you know what does have iron in it? Other people's blood. Other animals' blood. Some animals, I believe it's pigs, their blood is rich in iron. So guess what? You know, I mean, they ate like every part of a friggin' animal back then. Just like every part. Nothing went to waste. Hooves, ears, snouts, everything. And they would have like blood stew and stuff. And hey, they felt better because there was blood in it. And they were getting the iron that they were missing. And some people put 2 and 2 together and said, hey, you know what? The blood makes me feel better. Now, they didn't know it was the iron. They just knew blood makes them feel better. So they would kill chicken, which chicken blood really didn't do much for you, but, you know. Chickens, cows, pigs. And when you go back and you look at the stories of vampirism, you would see they would start reporting that livestock was being killed, and they would find them with their necks torn open, drained of blood, and all this other stuff. Guess why? Because that's what made those people feel better. So yes, there are vampires even today, but they're called anemic because we're able to diagnose it. And you give them a couple of iron pills, and nobody has any holes in their neck. So yes, vampires do exist. And if you do end up with a vampire spirit and they're from more modern times, those are the ones that chose to become one. If you know what I mean. It's like they weren't like born with the problem. They got into the practice, if you know what I'm saying. So those ones I would kind of be like, really? There's the door, see ya. So, yeah. If you do have a vampire spirit and they are at least 200 years old, then they're probably just anemic. That's all. But they are very much human. They are not a supernatural being. Now, the second type of vampire we're going to talk about, those vampires are called psychic vampires. And there's a lot of different contention out there, what they do, what they're capable of, blah, blah, blah. Now, I speak from experience because I myself am a psychic vampire. And it took me a long time to figure it out. So when I speak from experience. Now people say psychic vampires are dangerous for you and blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, I'm wearing cat ears. Do I look dangerous to you? Okay. So here's the deal with psychic vampires. Yeah, we kind of need the energy to keep us going. But that's because we expend a lot of energy. Like myself. I obviously have a lot of spirits here. It does take a lot to communicate with spirits. It takes a lot of energy. I can sit down and talk with some spirits for a couple of hours and that's it. I'm like done. I'm exhausted. I need a nap because it takes a lot of energy out of you. So keeping that in mind, we have to keep up our energy. Now, people say psychic vampires feed off your life force, your energy. In a way, we do. But we don't drain you like ripping out your soul. Let me explain. Do you know those type of people, and I'm sure you've met them, that will walk into a room and they'll just stand there and they'll look around and they'll gauge the room, you know, especially if it's, you know, political rally. Perfect. Given what's going on in these United States right now as of this recording, tensions are high. Tempers are high. And you know, you don't even have to walk into a political rally at this point to set off a spark. It just takes one phrase. So you gauge the room and you see who's who thinks what. And then you say one phrase. And then this side of the room starts attacking you. And then this side of the room comes to your defense. And all of them are just going back and forth. And, there's a lot of energy being expended. There's a lot of adrenaline pumping. There's all kinds of craziness going on. And I'm feeding off of all that energy that I've just generated with one sentence. Now, I know I'm really going to date myself on this one. Do you remember the AOL chat rooms? Nowadays, we're called trolls. Because I used to love to go into an AOL chat room and, I'd see what they were talking about, what was going on, and I would say one inflammatory thing, and everybody would go wild. These people are attacking me. These people are defending me. Everybody's just, and then there are all these side insults going back and forth on top of everything. And I would sit there and I would laugh, and I'm like, why are they getting so upset? And I know that I did this, and I'm sitting there and I'm just like, why is everyone so angry about stupid shit? But I would feed off of it. I would find it extremely entertaining. And those are the type of people you say that they just like to sit back and watch the world burn. And in a way, yeah. We're the type that play devil's advocate. We manipulate. We play one side against the other. And we feed off of the chaos that we cause. Now, most can be, some of them don't even know that they're doing this because they need the energy. Some people don't know that they are psychic vampires. But these people can be extremely argumentative. It's just they're, those people that are constantly picking a fight. Every little thing. It's this, it's that. They're always negative. They're always picking a fight. And what happens? They drain you. You're like, oh God, here comes this person again. Every time it's just, ugh. Because they are a psychic vampire. This is what they're doing. And they may not even realize that this is just a reflex reaction. But that is a psychic vampire. So now you kind of have an understanding about the two types of vampires. Yes, they are absolutely, definitely real. The sanguine vampires, you don't have to worry about them unless they haven't had their iron pills today, and then I would wear a scarf. Joking. They are not going to bite your neck. But they might bite. They might bite you, but they won't bite your neck. Then, the psychic vampires are actually the ones you really have to watch out for. Now, do I have any tips for you to avoid them? Well, then that's bad for me because I'm a psychic vampire. It's what I do. Okay. If you're in a relationship with a psychic vampire and they're not going to change. Women, they're not going to change. You're going to constantly just, that is how they get their energy. That is how they feel better, how they maintain themselves, how this is going to go on forever. It's not going to change. So the only thing that you can do for yourself is to leave. If you are one of those people that are maybe in a chat room or on Facebook, you see the troll, don't feed it. Don't feed the troll. Just be like, what an idiot. But to yourself, what an idiot. Unfriend them, whatever, go on about your life. And if unfortunately the troll is in a position of power. I say the troll, but the vampire is in a position of power. You cannot let them have the power over you. You have to find your zen, because they are going to drain you. They are going to exhaust you. They're basically going to break you down from the inside out. And I'm not talking about abuse, emotional, physical. I'm not talking about that. They're going to tire you out to the point where you're just like, I can't even think clearly. I can't even make a move. I can't think about what I need to do. So that is something that you have to step away from. You have to find your zen, find your happy place, and recharge yourself. But you got to get away from it. Somehow, if it's your boss, you may love your job, but if your boss is a psychic vampire and they're draining you and they aren't going anywhere anytime soon, you have got to go. You just got to. And trust me, I hate change. I am one of the most famous people for resisting change, kicking and screaming. But I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen. It's just going to it's going to affect every aspect of your life. You're going to be tired. You're going to be exhausted all the time. Your housework is going to fail. You're going to look more and I'm not like judging anybody's look, because hell, look at me. But things are going to go to the wayside, and it might result in a depression, because you feel like you don't have the energy anymore. And people might think you're depressed. You're not really depressed. You're just being drained. And again, that can happen with teenagers too. If you see that they're like drained or something. Because, especially in high school, the mean girls, guess what mean girls can be? So if you see especially among the teenage set, they may not actually be depressed. I came from the 90s where every kid was on a freaking Adderall or antidepressants or something. They were throwing pills at us left and right. And I was diagnosed with so many types of depression and this and that. I'm not depressed. I've never been depressed. Unfortunately, since the time I was a child. There have been spirits hovering around me. Some drain me. Some have influenced me. And they've, until I learned how to control them and control my powers, it was really hard, especially my teenage years. It was really hard. But I'm trying to stress all this. Sometimes what people think it isn't. There are sometimes supernatural explanations. Sometimes science can't help it. Sometimes science doesn't enter into it. And that means a lot coming from me, because I'm one of those people that don't believe in miracles, that I really don't hold too much contention with religion. And I'm not an atheist per se, but I believe religion is a cause of problems for a lot of the strife that has gone on in this world. So I'm not a big religious advocate, even though I was raised as a Catholic. But I'm saying that not everything is black and white, and science doesn't necessarily have the explanation for it. There is more going on than what some people can explain. And in talking about this today, I hope it gives you maybe some thoughts, makes you think about maybe something that's going on in your life and you're not sure, but you start to recognize, after viewing this, you recognize some hallmarks, and you're like, oh wow, well maybe it is this, maybe this is what's going on, maybe there is an explanation. So that is the tutorial, I guess you could say, about vampires. And if you have any further questions, if you have anything that you want to share, you can either share it underneath this video, or you can always, of course, send private questions to my email at salemwillow.com, salemwillow@yahoo.com. And of course, that will be under the video as well. And if this was helpful to you, if you liked it, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, because I will be trying to make sure that I have new videos out every Friday. And especially as Halloween approaches, in between doing all my crafting and talking with the spirits, I will be doing the Supernatural series. And in case you're wondering what I'm waving around, it is a porcupine quill. Don't ask me why. So that is it for now, and I will see you next time. Bye, witches.